go through recycling or garbage, that they have to be taken over to Jersey Avenue to the Department of Public Works, due to where you have a huge amount around New Brunswick with the black crate from the delivering of lunches to the house. Well, I'm not sure if all of you heard, I'm pretty sure about the big bus crash on the corner of Saddam and Joyce Kelmer involving 6 students. Pray they was okay, but I still say the police department needs to get out and do their job with too much speeding going on. I wasn't too sure who commented after me when I said about with the school over on French Street. Oh, everything's going to be okay. See, like I said, you don't live over here, so you cannot say that. Please take another look at the police report where the city council didn't think about the school, where they opened up a double bar and a liquor store on the corner of French and Handy Street. Please take a look at the police report and how many arguments, fighting, picking up, and then, wow, one thing I hope the Board of Education looks into, due to where marijuana is legal. The main charge used to be, oh, if you were smoking, or that's the Board of Education, and I'm going to speak to the police department. Wow, fight against that. We do not need, and I will say, especially on French Street, will do to where smoking weed in public with school. Like I said, one way that's going to work out, that's only if the police department is involved, due to where you have so many safety issues over there. Then my last question, due to where on May 26th, was that the nurse taken from in an ambulance from Redshaw School about 5 o'clock?
I believe that's a personnel issue. I don't know if our council has a comment on that.
Well, okay, I pray all is well. But like I said, you know, my main concern is based on safety. And then one more thing, if someone's bullied at least 3 times, do you report that to the police department? Well, not for you to kill the rest of my time, but the reason why I'm speaking on that, due to where I had a situation that was, the police said it was related to school, where a young lady, she was jumped by 3 girls, where she ran up on my porch so scared we had to call the police and all. The police said it was involved in school. So for future, I pray that you do. If someone's having a situation at least 3 times, yes, I do say you ought to put it on police record. So the police can handle things easier. But yes, it was shameful to see that young girl jumped by three other girls.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And obviously we have zero tolerance for bullying. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Anything else?
So, yes, please do look into that. Like I said, you know I'm all about safety. I thank you for taking the time. Have a good day. Hope to see everybody next month in person.
Yes, thank you so much for speaking. Mr. General, who's next?
Next to the microphone is Ms. Linda Stork.
Hello, Ms. Stork.
All righty. Good evening, everybody. Hi. I had a couple of questions about the summer programs. The project-based learning is apparently for any student from K to 7 that's currently in K to 7 is eligible to go to that program. Is that correct?
Dr. Johnson, do you want to answer that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I see Roosevelt and Lincoln schools aren't on there. Could those, and they have, Roosevelt especially has a very large population. Would they just apply anyway and be assigned to a different school? Is it because they don't have air conditioning yet in these schools? I hope not. And are we guaranteed to have air conditioning before the school year starts?
That's you want to answer. Those are multiple questions, but
so yeah, students all out. The students will be assigned to other school locations. We are outfitting those schools for air conditioning, so they'll be out of service. We are striving to have AC in those schools before school start, but again, we're also dealing with the contracted timelines. But as stated earlier, in the presentation in the facility report, so we hope to have this completed by late August.
Right,
Any other
but,
questions?
I mean, yes, no, I heard that we hope to have it completed, but are there guarantees in the contract? I mean, I think it has to be stipulated, even if it meant going with a contractor that maybe was a little higher, but could guarantee getting the work done before kids go back fully in person.
That is our hope.
Our hope is to have it completed.
That is our hope, but it's not stipulated in the contract. There's no, and
I
there's
believe it
no
is.
penalty for the contractor
believe
for not having it done in time.
I believe that it is stipulated in the contract.
So there would be consequences if they don't finish it on time.
Most likely.
Any other questions, Ms. Stork?
Yes. I hope that is the case because otherwise.
Can I answer?
Yes, please. Yeah.
It is stipulated, clearly stipulated in the contract as well. It's Franco Dolce, Director of Facilities. There's also what's called liquidated damages, which is monetary fines that get put against the contractor, that if they're not completed on time, the district can collect money from them.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you
That-
very
that-
much, Mr. General. That's
Thank
what
you.
I wanted to hear. Because too often I've seen that there weren't apparently any consequences for the contractors either not doing a good job or not having it done on time. And yeah, so very good. Thank you.
That was Mr. LeBeau, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was. Oh, okay.
No, yeah,
Thank you.
yep,
It's so hard on Zoom.
okay. Yeah, I know, it's all right. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay. Yes, I would like to know about the PSD summer school for the 3 to 5 year olds. Is that only for special ed preschoolers?
One of the things, and Ms. Stork, these are great questions, but one of the things, at least in my administration, that I really insist on is if you have questions, I really would like you to direct them to the superintendent prior to the meeting, and if the superintendent doesn't answer them to your satisfaction, then come. But if this is the first time we're hearing these questions, if you really want answers, he can actually give the answers, but really, really quickly. So, I'll ask, but if you could ask them in advance of the meeting, these are questions that could be answered very easily in advance of the meeting.
Right, but I think it would be good for people to hear the answer. So they know whether it appears from the description on the website, so I'm not the only person that's looking at the website and being confused. It says 3 to 5 year olds, but then down, if you read all the fine print, it says according to their IEP. But as far as I know, only a special needs student would have an IEP. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Well, let me ask, Dr. Johnson, would you like to answer that, or should she request it in writing?
Yes, and if Ms. Lagos wants to jump in, yes, it's for preschool disabled students, specifically from McKinley and Northville.
Okay, so that's a great thing. But my question is this is why I wanted to bring it up in the context, just to clear that up first. It was talking into doing a preschool program for all of the preschoolers, possibly with the extra money that came in.
Dr. Johnson?
Ms. Lagos, would you like to answer this question?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. As of now, we're providing summer learning plans for all students, including preschool students, but not an actual summer program for the preschool students.
I'm sorry, summer learning what? It's not a program?
Summer learning plans for all students in pre-K to 12, so that they continue their learning throughout the summer months.
Okay, so who implements the summer learning plan?
The families at home with the students, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. But the problem, the shortcoming I see of that is that the same families that for whatever reason were having a difficult time with the remote learning during the school year will continue to have a difficult time implementing this independently and kind of compound the problem.
Do you have any other questions?
The time is up.
Well, I
The
think it
time is
would have
up.
been
Okay.
nice with all the extra money to, have an in-person option for preschoolers.
Thank you, Mrs. Stark. Thank you for your comments and questions. Yes, Mr. General, who's next?
Mr. Charles Cradaville. Cradaville?
Hello, Mr. Gradiville.
Hello, Dr. Caldwell, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start by saying congratulations to all the graduates and to all the staff who got us through this. Unfortunately, I had some work to do, and I missed the last two meetings of this board, I believe. For the record, does the board make recordings of these meetings?
No, there are no recordings of this meeting.
Oh, wow. Is there any reason that you don't do that?
There are just simply no recordings of the meetings. There's no requirement to do that, and
Okay. Well, I noticed also that the meeting minutes are not on the website yet, so I'll look forward to reading them, since that's going to be the best record, unfortunately, of the meeting. Last year, this time of year, it was announced that the district is going to change the name of the Woodrow Wilson School. Has there been any update on that, or has the plan to do that been dropped?
there's absolutely no update on that as of yet.
But it's still the intention to change the name.
There's no update on that as of yet.
Okay, but the board still intends to change the name, yes or no?
There is no update on that, Charlie. I'm telling you, there's no update on that. Our intent is not, there's no update on it. So.
Okay, I'm just following up, holding accountable for things that were said before.
I can't be any clearer than that. There's no update on that.
All right, so I'll move on. On June 9th and 10th, I sent 3 emails to the superintendent. You talk about, bringing questions that the superintendent doesn't respond to. I copied you, Dr. Caldwell, on 2 of them. There was apparently a bomb threat and the evacuation at the McKinley School. Can he answer now my simple question? How and when were the parents of those students notified that their children had been evacuated from the school due to a bomb threat?
Charlie, the bomb threats in this age of terrorism, and it seems weekly there are attacks and in unlikely places that, this is treated like personnel issues. The more information that we make public, the more likely that things can happen again. And so we will not comment at all about any activities of terrorism, violence, threats, harassment publicly for the security of our district.
So you think it was appropriate not to notify the parents about the situation as it was unfolding?
Charlie, you don't necessarily know if parents were notified or not notified.
That was my question. Were they notified? How and when?
What I just said, Charlie, we are not talking about these issues of security for the security of our district. We're not going to publicly talk about it. I'm not going to answer those questions.
Well, I think it's a big mistake not to talk about these things since they are so serious and so important. And I'll also raise it on April 14th. There was a shooting in broad daylight just a couple hundred feet from the McKinley School. That shooting occurred at about 1:30 p.m. Superintendent Johnson did provide some information to me. He said that there was a shelter in place at McKinley School put into effect at 1:58, which is nearly a half hour after the shooting. I followed up to ask, what the holdup was, what took so long, why wasn't the action taken sooner? And I asked him when he learned about the shooting or when the district was notified of the shooting, because I fear that there's poor coordination between the local police and the security apparatus of the district. He never responded to those follow-up questions. You, sir, do you have anything to say about that delay in securing that building after a shooting took place just a stone's throw away?
Charlie, I'll repeat again. We have been advised that no comments on security issues. We're not going to make any public comments about security issues because it's essential, especially in this day and age, and you know this as as someone that's involved in the media, that making public certain things is not in the safety of the district. So we're not making a comment on that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I do know it's actually important to share accurate information as crises are unfolding, and I feel that the district's been dropping the ball. Can you tell me who advised you not to give out any information about these security matters?
Several people within and outside. I happen to be involved nationally, Charlie, with a number of national as well as district issues. So multiple people have advised me.
Can you name any of them?
No,
can you name them? So you're not going to name who's giving you this. I'm just curious who's giving the advice to not inform parents about situations involving their children being evacuated or forced to shelter in place in their school due to very real threats. I mean, New Brunswick has a very serious gun violence problem, and when a shooting takes place right near a school, it's appropriate to do a shelter in place right away, but you should tell people you're doing it. And similar to that, when there's an evacuation and children are physically removed from the building where the parents think they are, the parents of those children should be notified. And if that didn't happen, that's a failure. Maybe you should ask your security professional friends what they think of this situation.
Let me correct you right there. You call yourself a reporter, so report what was said. So this is not, I'm not going to allow you to do this. No one said to you that we are not going to notify parents. I told you we were not commenting about security issues. So if you are in fact a reporter, get the words correct. We're not commenting about security issues. We said nothing about parents being notified. So I'm not going to let you on my watch mince words. You've got to deal with facts, Charlie. That's what I said.
And thank goodness that Carlos Ramirez went there and reported the limited information we had so that people could know what was going on. I asked a very simple question: how and when were the parents notified? You refused to answer. So you can either correct the record with facts or just deal with it that you're not going to share the reality of it. How and when were the parents notified?
No comments. No comment. You're familiar with that term. No comments.
So thank you, Dr. Caldwell, Mr. Cradwell. For the record, it's been 6 minutes and 15 seconds, so we've given time.
You got extra time.
Be back and
Thank you. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Dr. Caldwell, that concludes the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Janero, and thank you for commenting. We're moving on to item number 12, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
The host would like you to unmute the microphone. You can press *6 to unmute.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seelan.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis. Give me a second. Mr. Shikaitis? Sorella. Sevilla?
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell?
Yes. Okay. We have that. Rich, did they drop off? Did they?
My system is reconnecting right now for a second. They may have dropped off if they're through the audio for a second. So
I'm here. Sorry, this is Jen. Sorry, I had to step away for 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been communicating with Miss Varela. She's having a few technical difficulties.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Just want to make sure that everybody's vote is counted.
Rich, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, finally.
Yes.
I said yes to the question.
Perfect. Perfect.
And for the record,
all right, moving on.
Well, before we go on, I'd like to just have Miss Varela, for the record, vote on the superintendent's report
Yes.
and her vote on the athletic committee report, the May
Yes, as well.
May rec. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 13, the Finance Committee report. It has been presented. Is there a motion to accept the report as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood,
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes, I abstain on page 18.
So noted. Ms. Varela,
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla,
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Moving on. Okay, moving on to item number 14, the Personnel Committee report. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes, unfortunately, I was unable to attend the committee meeting, so I'm going to ask Ms. Seawood if she can put the information in for me.
Okay. The Personnel Committee met last Thursday. We reviewed the number of vacancies in the district, and we have 107 vacancies. 72 are for the classroom, and 28 are for the new positions. The Personnel Human Resources Department continues its recruitment efforts, has participated in several online career fairs to build its applicant pool, and district administrators have utilized the virtual interview process to interview candidates, and we've developed and implemented a remote onboarding process, which was approved by the board in the past. We were presented with 3 revised job descriptions, 3 new job descriptions that were continued from, I think, a couple of months ago. We had first looked at these, and those were included in the resolutions for this evening. We also looked at the safe return plan, as all committees did over the last week or so. And the personnel report per se was reviewed, and you've been the report's been shared with the full board, and we recommend that it's accepted as amended. And that concludes my report.
Okay, is there a motion to accept Personnel Committee report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. General.
Mr. Ortiz,
I abstain.
Mrs. Sadowski,
I vote yes, but I abstain on page 17, page 19, page 23, and page 24.
so noted. Mrs. Seawood,
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis,
Yeah.
Ms. Varela,
Having technology problems again. We'll move on.
Ms. Sevilla,
Yes, I also abstain on page 5, 20, 24, and 26.
noted. Dr. Caldwell,
Yes.
motion approved.
Wonderful. We move to item number 15. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The roll call, Mr. General, or you want to do all ayes?
No, we should take a roll call. Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Seawood?
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis?
Yes.
Ms. Varela? Ms. Sevilla?
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell?
Yes. Well, thank you all for a great meeting.
Are adjourned.
Yes. Have a great evening. Take care. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good meeting, Dale.
Good night. Good night.
Night. Ms. Varela?